and spent some time in Disney, but hit the Orlando area and bought a bunch of stuff. I'm sure by now this is all old news, but these are some of the pickups. I always like these books. The Rebirth, I'm really excited about it. I'm really enjoying it. Following Superman and Batman. This was this week's pickup. Same kind of style. The Supergirl book, I thought I'd give that a try. And then Deathstroke. So also around my area, we have a Books A Million. So I'm a member of their club. So this was the variant for All-Star Batman. There's a color, and it looks like a pencil sketch or ink that came out. And then here's the regular cover. Nothing too exciting. Here is the Suicide Squad that was out this week too. I picked up a couple issues of that, but it has a couple variants from Books A Million. They do the fried pie variants, so I was really excited about those. Really enjoy this cover, and I picked up more than I needed, as you can see. So I want to get into the back issues that I started picking up. There's a local guy that sells books, and I picked this up for $10, and this is a 1958 early Silver Age, high 90s World's Finest, and this is a Kurt Swan cover, I do believe. So I just dug it. It's in good shape. It's a good survivor. Staples are attached, but for $10 I'll pick it up all day, probably in about the 3.5 range. So excited about that. And then I also picked this up recently. This is just a early Thor issue 128. I think it's the second appearance of Pluto, but it's in great shape. There's probably nothing wrong with it. There's a couple spine ticks, a little fading, but other than that, it's a survivor, and I got this for a steal. Also picked up an early Superman 125. This is the earliest one I have with his cosmic powers. It's just a story gag, but it's in great shape, probably in the 5.5 range, and the staples are attached. I picked this up for $10. Also picked up some early Incredible Hulks to help me out my run. These are actually in pretty decent shape, probably in fine shape, not bad at all. Herb Trimpe Goodness 116. Early appearance of Maximus, one of the Inhumans. Just thought it was in great shape. I think I wound up spending like $5 or $10 on this one too. Then I started working on some of my Flash classic cover. Abracadabra, not too bad of shape, probably in the 5.5 range. It's got a date stamp of 1962. These are all in decent shape. Nothing too major wrong with them. Then I also got an early appearance of Trickster. This one's a clean copy. I was surprised. I can't remember what I paid for it, probably because I worked in a bulk deal. But this was in great shape, and the staples are firmly attached, and the colors are relatively still fresh. I just really like these early Flash covers, and they're hard to find these days. Geez, everybody, since the TV shows come out, it's really been pushing hard. Then, to help my Mr. Miracle run, this is a really, really clean copy of number 2, some Jack Kirby goodness. I have a hard time passing this up, but this is Granny Goodness and her first appearance, and it goes along with the Fourth World storyline. So this is when Jack was over at DC during the early 70s. I think this is 71, so I really, really enjoy that cover. Picked this up for $1. This book is not expensive by any means. It's probably $8 to $12 book, but it's a nice retelling of Giant Size X-Men number 1. This came out in I think 82. The big thing for me is in the back there's a brand new story by Cockrum and Claremont about Kitty Pryde, one of my favorite X-Men characters, but it also is, I think, some of his last artwork before Dave passed away. But it's not in great shape, but I bought this for $1, so I was pretty excited about that. This book's picking up some steam, and I think Vin Crew 12,000 mentioned this. This is like the first Bizarro Batman in the modern age. That's all I know about it. I haven't done a lot of research on it, but this was actually 50 cents. There's a place called Joker Street Comics in outside of the Villages in Florida, and a guy had a really great shop. And he had a bunch of books for 50 cents, so I went crazy. Actually, we had to buy a new suitcase for me to come back with because we had bought so many books. So my wife was not too happy about that. I was not happy about spending the extra money on the luggage and then also paying for it. But I must have brought back 200-300 books, and I'll show you some of the highlights for that. Something that also Vin Crew had mentioned were these early Malibu Suns, and these are actually the first appearances. So I do believe this is Wiles Petracio's Petraccio. I'm sorry if I murdered that, but this is the first appearance of Wetworks when he was at Image. This was his own self-creator title. I thought that was really neat. And then he mentioned this as being the first appearance of Wildcats. So that's pretty cool. And these were relatively cheap. I've had these forever. These were actually in some of the dollar boxes I was selling. I think I'm going to hold on to these. I forgot what kind of value these have, but they're starting to go up a little bit on eBay, and it just depends on who you find and who's selling it that day. Not making any speculation or anything, but I just thought this was neat because I forgot I had this, and I really liked the early Jim Lee Wildcat stuff. And then when Grant Morrison took over, I still liked it. So that's, to me, one of those titles that if you get a chance to read, it's cheap. I mean, you can find them in the dollar box or the 50-cent bins all day long. The art's spectacular and the story's pretty good, and I think they're going to try to do something with the Wildcats into the DC continuity. So that may be something to look at. Some of those 90s books that were overprinted are actually starting to tick up in value. So this is a book I'll pick up all day. This is my third copy, The Origin of Cyborg. I picked this up. This is probably the most expensive one I picked up, but it's probably also in the best shape. It was $5 from a local vendor, but it's in great shape. Picked up another copy of The Fury of Firestorm. I found this for 50 cents in a 50-cent bin. It's in fine shape, nothing major. And then also picked up another copy of Sinister, or the first Sinister. I think this was relatively like a $15 book I picked up. So one of the things that also happened while I was out on vacation is that, and this is something I don't know if you guys have seen or not, but Barnes & Noble, for the Suicide Squad movie, did a special DC at the end of July. They did a special where they had a free comic book kind of day and celebrated DC event. So my daughter and I went down to the one in the Villages, and we won the contest, and we got like 3 lithographs for taking first place on answering questions for DC. And I think we went 11 for 15 questions. But this was some of the stuff they were giving away for free. So one of the reasons why I had such a large collection, or a large buy while I was on vacation, was that these were actually free books. And I got like 32 of them, and I'm only going to show you some of them. But this is a variant to that special holiday or April Fool's special that was selling in April for the new Suicide Squad. But it's different because it says Suicide Squad up here, and then on the back it's got a cover. Anyway, I picked these up for free. These are going on eBay for between like $5 and $10. You can find them as low as $3. It just depends on any given day. And I've had a lot of the guys that buy books from me showing interest in them. So I don't know how hard these are to get now, but I think that this will be one of those variants that you'll have a hard time finding later. Okay, so getting to the last couple books that I purchased, and these are the bigger books. So I'm trying to make my videos relatively time frame wise smaller. So won this on an eBay purchase. This is my first PGX and probably my last, to be honest with you. They rated this, move this back, as an 8.5. And I'll tell you, if this is the way PGX grades, I'll never get a book slab for them other than a preserve. Sorry if that offends somebody out there. It's just my opinion. But an 8.5, there's a water stain down here and damage. And if you look at the rest of it, it says white pages. This, to me, honestly, is probably like a 5.5, maybe at the most because of that damage. I'm at the book on the back even isn't all that white, and you can see the water stain right there. Just personal opinion, guys. I know they're great for encapsulation. A lot of people like using PGX, and I don't know. When I saw 8.5, I definitely expected better, a higher grade book. But, for the price I paid, I can't complain either. I think I spent $25 on this, so you get what you get for the price you pay. The photos were all that great on eBay, so buyer's remorse a little bit on this. But I'm going to sell this. I'm sure somebody will buy it. While I was at that Joker Street Comics, also picked up my second copy of Defenders. Sorry, let me move this tape out of the way. That's actually how I'm holding it down. It's in good shape. Corners are pretty tight, and the color is really nice on this. It does have a couple chips over here, but I was pretty happy for that. I think I paid maybe $50 for this when I worked out the bulk deal because I bought so many books. The other book that I bought while I was there was this. This is the first time I've owned this in a long time. First appearance of the Black Cat, and this is actually in really good shape. This to me is like a very fine minus copy of it, and it's getting harder to see. Other than there's a little tick here and a break up there. I actually think that's actually part of the web, but it's in good shape. I'm happy with it. Another relatively cheap book. Then these last two books, I can't decide which one is more the kind of grail or high value one of this. This is a really, really, really clean copy of Iron Fist, number 14, first appearance of Sabretooth. And let me show you by clean what I mean. Hardly any spine wear. Corners are pretty tight. It's not the 35-cent variant, but I was very excited about getting this, and I paid probably what the market value is going for it on it. It wasn't a great deal by any means, but I worked in a bulk deal, and I did a lot of trading for this with the local vendor. So the books that I had bought that I traded off were actually like dollar books. So I got about $100 worth of credit for it, and the rest came out in cash for 4 of the other books. But this is the other book that I'm pretty excited about having. In the last book, finally got a copy of Luke Cage, Hero for Hire, number 1, and it's probably in fine minus shape, but it's, for a black cover on it, and I am a black supremacist, just like Mercenot, I'll take what I can get, but it's a great copy. Anyway, okay guys, so that's a lot of books in a very short time period for me. I've been really enjoying the Comic Book Fanatics and JSL Comics and all the live shows, New York Warriors, chatting with them, and then Coffee and Miss D in the mornings with Big Easy. I really love your shows, guys. I love the participation in the chat groups. I appreciate you guys asking the questions that I asked to the guests and respondents there. Really, really just have a good time interacting with the community. So anyway, I just want to say thank you. Take care of yours and your own. Go out there and be safe and enjoy this hobby of ours or addiction. And I will chat with you soon. Bye.